Evening, welcome to a Monday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. Meldon Law Monday right here on our same channel. Glad to be with you. It's going to be a crazy night. We got people far-flung all over the place here. Joining soon with Bill Madden, my good friend. We're going to tell a quick story about Lake Placid 46 years ago. Yes, we were both there when they won the gold medal. Actually, beat the Russians to get the gold medal game. Bill Madden will join me. And we'll chat with Bill. And then we've got going to go to Spurrier's Grand Grill and talk to all the people. A lot of guests there. We'll try to hook up with Dan Mullen possibly. And we got Franz Beard standing by. Let's go right out to Clearwater, Florida right now, though, and talk to my former colleague and good friend, known for his baseball writing in the Hall of Fame, the Yankees lead beat writer for like 100 years. And he's my good friend, Bill Madden, and it's a special day, or it was yesterday for Bill. And good evening to you, man. Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy.
We're going to cut right to the chase. 46 years ago yesterday, we were both in Lake Placid. And we're going to tell the short version. We're doing another assignment on Friday night. And the famous Russian hockey game, which was not the gold medal round, by the way, was on closed circuit only. And Bill, we were down the hill about 4 blocks, ice and snow, and working on Sunday assignments. Figured probably going to be a blowout. And I said, Billy, if it gets close, I'm going to go up there. They tied the game in the third period on with my snow clothes, my boots, and off to the races. I went up the hill to chase this story. You pick it up from there, Bill.
All right, I should preface this, buddy, by saying Lake Placid in February of 1980 was the last place I wanted to be. You had hired me to be your Yankee beat writer at the Daily News, and that's all I wanted to do. And you insisted that I accompany you to Lake Placid. You said, you're going to love it up here. And I said, no, I'm not going to love it. I want to be in Fort Lauderdale. But anyway, there we were. And throughout the whole week, I was trying to find things to do to get in the paper on sports that I had no idea of. So now we have this hockey game going on, and history is in the process of being making. And when they tied the score, you ran out the door, put on your boots and everything, grabbed your Texas Instruments little computer there and said, I'm going to the arena. I got to coordinate the coverage up there. And I said, well, what am I going to do? Oh, you'll figure something out, Billy. So, a few minutes later, the U.S. goes ahead and on the Aruzioni goal. Mm-hmm. So I said, I guess I better figure out something to do here. I can't just sit around in our little apartment. So I went out the door and I'm trudging down the street, the main street in Lake Placid. It wasn't a big town. Nothing is going on. It is dark. There's nobody there.
At least not where you are. Where I was hanging from the side of a wooden bleacher watching the last 8 minutes of the game because I couldn't get to my seat with a gazillion thousand people there. And I know I've got to write something. I don't know how and where and what. And I've got to scramble there to find a place to plug in my Texas Instrument machine. I'm thinking, okay, I saw this. What did I see? And you're going up the street toward the arena, and what happened? What did you see?
Yeah, well, actually, I think I was going away from the arena. I was looking for something, anything to create a story or do something. And I see this lights at the far end of the main street in Lake Placid, and then the closer I got, I could hear music. And I said, my God, that's probably a bar. I said, maybe I've got my story here, at least a civilization, because the place was bleak. So I got closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden I realized this was not just an ordinary bar. This was an American Legion Hall. And the noise I heard was all these World War II and Vietnam War veterans celebrating this American victory. And I get right by the place, and they're waving these little American flags. I guess they had brought them with them in anticipation of maybe the Americans pulling this upset, which they had done.
Here's the great line. Afghanistan, Russians have been invaded by them. They beat the Russians. You're down in the American Legion Hall trying to get back to where we are, and you get this guy hand you a little flag. And what did he say to you, Billy?
This guy, this old World War II veteran, he grabs me. He's waving his flag. He hands me a flag myself, and he says, "Tonight is a night to go out on the streets and wave the American flag. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to this country. We're so, and you must tell, we all telling the world, we are so proud to be an American." And I looked at the guy. I said, "Well," I said, "I guess I got my story here." And then another one of these old veterans came up to me, hands me a glass of scotch. He says, "Drink up, my friend. We're all celebrating America tonight." And this went on for a few minutes. And I said, I found my scotch. And I said, "I got to get to the arena and find Buddy. I think I have what he's looking for."
You did. You walked up to me and said behind me, "I got your quote," and you read it to me. And I was typing the story that I was begging the Daily News to put on the front page. And we won't go any further than that, but we got the story. It's a great night in journalism, one of the great times, one of the great moments for me. And what's really odd, and we'll say goodnight with this and thank you, is that Jack Hughes from Orlando, who scored the winning goal in the overtime, said almost the same thing yesterday that guy said to you. He said,
"You're right. It was deja vu all over again."
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. Yeah. Billy, great to talk to you. I know people look at me like, "What are you doing? Crazy? This is the Gators channel." We want to get that in, and I want to appreciate your time. Thank you, and looking forward to getting you back on talking about your book. Okay.
Okay, buddy. It was my pleasure. Take care.
The great Bill Madden coming on board. Nice. Thanks for persevering to get on. Thank you, Bill. All right, so folks, we're going to get back to our topic du jour, but I want to get that in because of the anniversary. I know you have things you want to talk about. Fran Spurrier is standing by. He'll be here momentarily. We'll catch up with him, and we'll see what he's got to say. What a big day for the Florida Gators! I'm telling you, my column's up now. I wrote about this weekend. I gorged myself on college basketball, and how about those Gators? They have vaulted into the top 8, just as some people have been saying they would. They're poised and ready to go now and to make a run. It's going to be a remarkable next few weeks of March Madness. I don't know about you, but I felt compelled to watch college basketball Saturday, and I gorged myself. I binge watched college basketball. I watched part of or all of 6 basketball games. My day began with breakfast with the Gators at 11 o'clock, playing in Ole Miss. By the way, what a night Alex Condon had, his coming out party. We saw that game, and then I went through the rest of the day. And, of course, the 2 big games were the 1, 2, 3, and 4 play-in and the Duke-Michigan game. Really great basketball to watch, to get caught up, boned up. I haven't watched an all-day sporting event like that since football. And for those of you who follow me, you know this. I'm a football guy. And that's what I watch mostly. But a basketball guy, he watches both. There's nobody does it better than him. He wrote a beautiful story today, outlining exactly how they got where they are. The great Fran Spurrier's got his Panama hat on, his Gators shirt, and how about them Gators, Franz?
Well, they're number 7. I thought they'd be somewhere between 6 and 8, and got it right in the middle. This is the team nobody wants to play. Nobody. I promise you, I wrote it that they lost to Arizona, Duke, and UConn by a combined 15 points. I can't say those teams are 15 points better. I can say Florida is 25 or 30 points better. I don't think Florida can. I think if Florida played those 3 teams right now, Florida would kill them.
Well, you did a beautiful job today of going through and remembering, because it gets hard to remember the scenario from last year and this year and how tight it is this year. And what a remarkable job they've done. They're right back. And I wrote this and you read it, and I really read your stuff. There are times we can say safely this team has played better than last year's national champions. That's a lot to say, France.
Well, Todd even says we're better defensively than last year. And last year's team, you got to remember something. You had Elijah Martin and Will Richard, who are second-round draft picks because they play great defense. But he says this year's team is better defensively. And I think you see it when big guys try to go out on the perimeter, and you see Florida switching off a big guy to a small guy, and all of a sudden the big guy is guarding a point guard, and the point guard can't get around it.
Yeah, we've seen that.
It's pretty darned amazing.
Number 9 especially.
He's something else. And then you see how they have adapted. We knew that, judging from the past, that sooner or later the odds would catch up and Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee would start making shots. Xavier Lee's 9 out of his last 23. Guess what that is? That's 37%. Guess what his career shooting percentage from 3 is in 3 previous years, buddy? 37%. Boogie Fland shot 34% last year at Arkansas. He hit 3 the other night. I believe that he's about ready to. We've seen how the rest of his game has awakened. I think what you're going to see now is he's going to make shots. He doesn't. I think what's helped him is he has relaxed and he realizes he doesn't have to make shots for the Gators to win. He just has to do what he does, which is play defense, get the ball moving, break the press, get layups when that presents itself, and hit an occasional floater in the lane. But if he can add a 3 occasionally to it, whoa, all of a sudden you're talking about a guy who is the fastest guy from baseline to baseline with the ball, faster, I believe, than anybody in the country without it. I mean, he is that quick. And you take that. Florida, you can't press them. They got a steal off the press the other night, but Condon wasn't in the game. Boogie wasn't in the game. After that steal, Todd gets a timeout. Guess who comes in? Condon comes in as his release guy. Boogie comes in to inbounds it back to Boogie, and the press is broken. I mean, like clockwork. You cannot press them, as we're discovering now. If you try to sag on them, they got shooters. And I got to tell you what, Urban Klavjar, does he remind anybody of a certain guy named Lee Humphrey?
He does. He gets his shot off so well. And you think sometimes he's too close, and he gets it off, and he makes it. And he makes them early when they really count to open up that defense a little bit. And he's so impressive. Let's take a second to breathe. We just got on here, been talking to Bill Madden about what happened 46 years ago. And I want to talk to you about a couple of football stories, one of which is Dan Mullen. We're going to try to get him on here if we have time tonight, but it's difficult, and he just consented to do that. And I wanted to say that probably, and I kind of feel bad in a way about what happened to Mullen. When he was hired, I thought he was going to be the guy. I really did. And our friends thought so too. And it didn't work out that way. But here he is tonight at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where he's honored, he and his wife. He was honored, there's a trophy, for the best first-year coach.
Won 10 games at Las Vegas this year.
He did. And so there he is. Looks pretty happy, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And as I understand it from conversations I've had with Megan, who still remains one of my good friends, they love it in Las Vegas. They love the way the university's treating them and how they basically open the door to get whatever they need to make this football program successful. So, I think Dan's a good football coach. You sometimes, when you consider what happened in the last 4 years, you got to wonder what might have happened had Dan been given an extra year.
I still don't know what happened. I really don't.
Well, had he been given the opportunity to replace a couple of people on his staff, I mean, it was a bad year for John Hevesy on the offensive line. It was a bad year for his defensive coordinator.
But he didn't want to replace him, though, right?
Well, we're told that, but did he want to replace him during the season? Did he want to replace him? We don't know whether it was, okay, I'll replace him at the end of the season, or he was ordered to fire them during the season. Yeah. Either way, you look at what the next year, Anthony Richardson and Dan Mullen is a legitimate quarterback guru. What could Anthony Richardson have done with a full year of being the starter and Dan Mullen coaching him? What could have happened with a change because we had players. There was no question we had players. What could have happened with a new offensive coordinator? What could have happened with a new offensive line coach? We don't know the whole story.
Well, there's still something there that's missing. I don't know what it is exactly. He had a show calls, which we didn't know for a year on recruiting. I don't know. Anyway, let's just celebrate the happy time he and Megan tonight, or enjoying the Spurs grind. Really, he's happy. I'm glad for him. I appreciate him, what he tried to do. It should have worked. It didn't. I don't know why. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But here's the story developing tonight. Texas has hired a new wide receiver coach.
Yeah.
You might know the name, Billy Gonzales.
I hate to see that happen. I understand. I appreciate that every coach has to hire his own people. I realize that. It's one of the sad things that happens in college sports is that assistant coaches who make a fraction of what head coaches make. Billy Gonzales was making a tenth of what Billy Napier was making. And I got to tell you what, judging by what I've seen of the Florida wide receivers, Billy Gonzales did a far better job with his position than Billy Napier did coaching his position, which was the quarterback.
We all knew that. We all know those of us who followed the program. And by the way, he's going to a team with two other former Gator coaches, Will Muschamp, making a stunning, was it $8 million over 3 years for Texas as defensive coordinator, and now Jaluk, who's there,
DeBar Jaluk
as running backs coaches, 3 former Gator coaches. What does that tell you? Tells me they need a little Gator over there in the Longhorns, world of Longhorns, right?
And let's face it, from what I saw in the last 3 or 4 ball games, I think Manning is going to be easily the favorite to win the Heisman next year. And I'm not going to be surprised when he does win it. I believe he will. You give a guy like Billy Gonzales help with the Texas wide receivers. You get a guy like Jaluk. Texas had a struggle with its running game. You put this guy in there with the backs, and we saw what he did with the running backs at Florida. You look at Florida's running backs.
They've been awesome. 3 deep now for 5, 6 years.
And even when there were injuries, look what happened. No problem. Things happened. I mean, we have Etienne. He gets hurt. So this guy named Jaden Ball comes in there, and all of a sudden we start thinking, Etienne who? Mean, really.
Right. Hey, by the way, I got a little tiny scoop for you. I didn't know this. My friend locally here who works in ESPN Northwest Florida has a show, and I heard him. He officiates some of these 7-on-7 games. They have a huge 7-on-7 game at Panama City here. I mean, they come from all over Georgia, Florida. Today, there was a guy there named Peyton. His son is, guess what position he plays?
Oh, just to guess off the top of my head, quarterback maybe.
Guess what number he wears?
I'm guessing number 16, maybe.
You got it right. And he was there today playing yesterday or the weekend. And my friend who was the head official had some conversations with Peyton, but he didn't feel like it was right to disrupt him. And they asked him, what did he say? So he was pretty tense. They have special rules there. Like you get one play, you got to make a yard. If you don't, they get the ball back. But Marshall is his name. Another Manning in the pipeline. They say goes at Chattanooga Baylor. You know what Chattanooga Baylor is?
Yeah, it sure is. That's the same school that Whit Muschamp went to school. Will's kid.
Yeah.
We've had a number. Alan Trammell went to Baylor.
Yeah, my college roommate Jim Maines from Jacksonville Bowls went there too, eventually. But yeah, it's supposed to be I've not been there. A beautiful campus, but there's another
phenomenal academics.
I hear it's beautifully. The campus is beautiful. The academics are great, and they have another all girls school. Anyway, bottom line is I didn't know that. Yeah, you're getting messages here. So, friends, hold on a second. So our friends, Bobby.
Let me try to call Dan in just a little bit and see if we can get him on.
Well, he says he's ready. I got it, but I don't have the link for him. You can send. Why don't you go ahead and send the link to him? I'll do the commercial. Do you have Dan's number?
I just so happen to.
Yes, I have the same number. So go ahead and ask him if he can go click on that link and give it a try. Okay. You go ahead and I'll get you back in a minute. I'll catch up and do a couple of commercials here. Tell our folks, let's see if we can get the guys being honored tonight. Ordinarily, Shane would be on, by the way, and he's not. And we understand why. Guess where he is tonight. Yeah, I understand. I don't blame him. So, friends, to let you go, I'll just put you on silence for a second. You go ahead and do what you got to do, and we will tell you about our sponsors and a few other little news notes I want you to know about. Of course, if you listen to this program, you know he'll be on tonight. He was there at Spurrier's Grill. They had the first year coach award. I am hearing rave reviews about this event tonight. Lauren Meadows is going to be on with us too. He was there. And I'm hearing Jeffrey Mullen just rave about it. What is it, the 5th or 6th year? It's become a big event with big names. Mario Cristobal tonight, I am told, just tore it up. Some of a roast of Kirby Smart who was not there. They had a lineup of really good coaches, apparently, and I'll have to get the report from Lauren. He was there. He saw it. But so that's good. That's a nice event that they're having, and they should be grateful. It brings attention. Spurrier's Grill, I'm saying it just because of my friends, is amazing. So that we're going to have Jeffrey Melden in just a minute here. And while I tell you about Melden Law, by the way, they are awesome in a word. And of course, they do practice law. They're an official law firm of the University of Florida. But Jeffrey is just there everywhere. Mr. Basketball. I turned on the TV and the women's game. What a tough loss for Kelly Ray Finley. All the way. Played great in the third quarter. Couldn't finish it. There was Jeffrey down with the bench. His wife, Patricia, are really trying to help that program out. But Jeffrey's always doing something for the University of Florida, and he can do something for you. I'm hoping in the next couple of days to have some good resolution to my situation, which Melon Law has been helping me with. And, of course, always glad to have Jeffrey on the show. Let's see if I can go back now and get him. Melon Law, they won't back down. Good evening to the man who was there tonight, having a big time, right?
Oh, my God.
How you doing, buddy?
Buddy.
We're trying to get Dan Mullen on the show here in a minute.
He said he'll be happy to do it another time, buddy.
I
he said
yeah.
he's been saturated with.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm good with that. And I was your friend that recommended we try it. But I got the guy I wanted. I got him right here with his jacket on, and he's a happy camper. All right, when I left you a minute ago, you were raving about this event tonight. Tell me about it, Jeffrey.
So this is amazing because somehow between Spurrier and Freddie Weeby, they get Phil Fulmer, Kirby Smart, Mario
Oh,
Cristobal.
Kirby was there. I didn't know Kirby was there. Okay.
Oh my God. And they were all trying to one up each other.
Cristobal was roasting, I heard.
Yeah, but the best one was Phil Fulmer and Spurrier.
What
Because
did they do?
in the 90s, that was the game, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in the SEC, Phil Fulmer and Spurrier were going at it, particularly because Spurrier was a Tennessee guy.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is they're friends.
Yeah. Well, that came out. So here's the deal. Mario Cristobal, he's the new kid on the block, right?
Yeah.
And so, you've got Kirby Smart there and Mario Cristobal, and Kirby Smart is paying homage to the leaders before him. Okay. And this is a guy who's won 2 national championships. And then Mario Cristobal comes on, and he was really funny. Okay. Because
What did he say? It was so funny.
well, I mean, I think it was the fact that he had the beat down of Florida, that he weaved into it right last year, and this year wasn't any better. But beating the Gators in the swamp gave him some fodder, and he deserves that, right? He came here and beat our ass.
Do you have to bring that up, Jeff?
Do you know? I think Miami finally got it right. They've run through a whole bunch of coaches.
They were running short his patience with him too late on.
Well, the one thing about Mario is he grew up in Miami itself. I mean, he's been a hurricane. He's been a hurricane since the day he was born, and he can go anywhere in Miami. He's recognized. He's known. Doesn't need a bodyguard anywhere he goes. I mean, he's which, considering it's Miami, as Jeffrey can tell you, going. You better have some pretty good people with you in some places you go. Mario can go anywhere. He's recognized. He's loved. And I may be a little bit unusual, but Florida football is better when all the schools in the state are good. And you know why? Because the kids stay in state. You don't end up seeing kids like quarterbacking Indiana to a national championship when all the schools in the state are good. And that's just one example. So many, you look at all these national championship teams at Georgia. Georgia's couldn't have won national championships without Florida kids. And Alabama couldn't. Alabama made a living out of wide receivers that they got out of Miami. But the football is better for everybody in the state when all of our schools are good, because that means all the kids in the state stay home.
I would agree with that, Jeffrey. Would you?
No, absolutely. Hey, look, the golden era, in my opinion, was when you had Spurrier, you had Bobby Bowden, you had Phil Fulmer, you had every friggin' coach in the country, right, trying to be what Florida was, okay? And now Urban Meyer was a different kind of a deal. That was more like a shooting star, whereas with Spurrier, that was 12 years of relentless football against some of the best talent that ever was there. Okay. And so let me tell you, the most important thing about what I saw tonight was the camaraderie and the respect within the coaches for Coach Spurrier and the program that he's put together, because it's not easy when you start a program recognizing things that have not already been recognized, like the first year coaching award, which went to Dan Mullen. And Dan Mullen was so appreciative because he understood that even though he was run out of town, that he was shown the respect by Coach Spurrier to give him the first year award for his work at UNLV. So I want to commend Coach Spurrier, Coach Mullen for their contributions to the University of Florida, and the fact that they show respect for each other. I think that was, to me, a very significant moment. So let's hear it for Dan Mullen. Dan's a great guy, okay? And if he didn't have to recruit, he'd probably still be the best coach in the SEC.
Well, and in defense of Dan, on one respect, he was promised the football facility, and they were a year late getting it. That football facility has been an amazing magnet for good ball players. That could have helped a lot. And of course, I will say this: he did not have the best offensive line coach. He did not. His defensive coordinator, I got to tell you something about him. You want to look at his history. He's good for about 2 good years. And then after year 3, it starts going downhill. I got what they call it, third and Grantham. After year 3, they figured out when he's blitzing and how he's blitzing on third down. And all of a sudden people start torching that defense. But Todd Grantham Dan should have encouraged him to take the NFL job when he had it after the 19.
I would agree with that. I think there was a sense of loyalty to some of the assistants, including Grantham. I don't know what commitments remaining, but I know the guy knows offense. I thought when he was hired, my friends who were down in Mississippi at the time, and when he was having that great run, don't forget, he had the number 1 ranked team in America in Mississippi State, just so you remember. And they thought it was a great hire, and it was the first call that they should make. And I thought he was going to be the guy. He had the heritage with Urban. He had the knowledge. He looked upon as a great offensive mind. He had facilities within reason. Things were on the upswing with Strickland. I don't know. It looked like it ought to work, but you know what? Things don't work sometimes. I guess it looked like it ought to work when Muschamp was here too. Gainesville guy there, was coming back. And so sometimes these things don't work out, but it's nice to catch it on the flip side, isn't it? You give them a chance to come back and come make a triumphant return. And that was a really healing moment. You tell me, Jeffrey, was it?
Well, the fact that John Sumrall was there, seeing these giants in his...
Yeah, that was nice, huh? That was nice.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. John Sumrall, every one of those coaches that were there are giants in their business, and for Sumrall to drive around the corner and be able to go to Spurrier's and see those coaches coming there to honor their players and the coaches is a big deal. I'll tell you, ESPN needs to put this shit on the air. It's compelling. Listening to them talk is so friggin' funny. I'm telling you, these guys, they really work preparing their comments.
But they're not going to go on the air, Jeffrey, and do that. They just aren't. They clam up when they go on the air. That's when the cameras are off, and that's the best time.
So So that's another reason why this is. I mean, these guys are just sitting there. It's like a roast. Okay, they're trying to
Yeah.
roast each other.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean Phil Fulmer and um, Spurrier like 3 feet apart.
Yeah.
That's like classic, right?
Yeah. You're right about one thing. They could sure use some better programming. They need that for sure. Hey, Jeffrey, how excited are you about this basketball team?
Oh,
Number 7 in the nation, baby. Number 7. Here we
okay.
go.
So when I talked with Corey McCray, Coach McCray, like 3 or 4 months ago, he said, Jeffrey, our guards are new to this system. It's going to take a while for them to develop. And lo and behold, the guards are starting to develop. Okay. And I think there's been a development because all of a sudden Micah as well as Alex Condon.
Boy, Condon's playing great.
No, so Alex had a slump, and
What
Tom.
did your friend, what did the coaches say to you, tell you about him? Because you know all those guys.
Well, look, they're
Harlan.
okay. So here's the deal. Okay, Micah, Tommy, let's see, Cooper Josephsberg, and let me think who's else.
Mike and Tommy, Alex, and Cooper are all roomies.
Yes. Micah, Alex, Tommy, and Cooper were all roommates. Now, when AK came in from Australia, so they split it up, and Alex went to went to live with AK. But these guys are very, very, very tight.
Yeah.
And you see that in the fabric of what's going on with the basketball team, because these guys are not just, show up at the arena kind of guys. These guys are.
It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, they've lived together. This is their 3rd year together. They're friends. They're buddies.
Did you?
So that's my thought.
Yeah.
So as far as what's going to happen, this team is not going to lose because they're not well connected.
No.
As far as this team goes, their success is going to be enhanced because they're well connected. Lauren, what do you think about that?
Well, let me jump in before you get Lauren, and I want to hear what you say. Because here's what I want to say. There's a certain grace and beauty about basketball if you can catch it. Watching these big guys run the court. I mean, I tried to write it today, didn't do a very good job. But Kondo is like the grace of a 6'11" man running the floor like a guard with touch on passes that looks like a guard. The way he just runs so nimble and so smooth with the grace of a ballet dancer is what I tried to describe. You see things like that. And you see Tommy Hop, who's so beautifully creates shots, can get a shot from anywhere, especially the 3 or go take it to the hole. There's certain things this basketball team, the beauty of how they do it to me. I know fans, I know you like this, and I can throw it over to Lauren, but I really artistically, I know this sounds a little freaky, I really enjoy watching them. I love to watch them win, but I love to watch them play.
Lauren. Yeah, I mean, you talk about poetry in motion. I mean, you could use a lot of, phrases to describe it, but when you have a good basketball team that's playing connected, like Jeffrey mentioned, and you got guys filling the lanes and just creating opportunities for one another and sharing the basketball, making the extra pass. It's poetry in motion. And I was thinking today, man, that swell that you get when we all kind of thought, man, we might be watching the best team in the country. It's coming back. And, I don't want to eat my words. And I know in 2 weeks or so we'll be I won't be, but we'll be looking to Nashville and then the selection Sunday. But, it's kind of feels like that again. And I know Franz has been bullish on the team. I have as well, but I've already booked a hotel in Indianapolis. Haven't booked the flight yet, but I'm thinking that this is a team that could be on its way because, like you said, it's poetry in motion. And everybody was talking about the guards, Lee, Flan. This ain't doing this. They're not, but they just give you a diet of consistency right now. And then you got the best backcourt in the country. Best front court in the country, excuse me. And Urban Klobuchar, who should be sixth man of the year in the SEC. And you got a recipe for a run that could be historic. And, I think that's where they are, but it's poetry in motion, man. It's fun to watch them impose their will. And, last year they kind of did it from the backcourt where they just leaned on you. This year it's the front court just leaning on you, but you're getting the same result. And this is a team, they had 4 losses last year. They got 6 now, and it's been a minute since they lost. So I think it's on its way.
Here's the thing I like. Todd's been saying all year long, these guys can shoot. Just be patient. Well, guess what? Xavier Lee is 9 of his last 23.
Boy, he can bring it. He can bring it.
That's 37%. Guess what? He's a career 3-point shooter. In 3 years at Princeton, 37%.
There it is.
You look at Xavier Lee, Boogie Fland. Guys have been telling me he lights it up in practice. And here's what I think has happened with him. I think he is, for the first time in his life, realizing I don't have to lead the team in scoring for us to win. I just have to do what I can do. He's getting layups. He's hitting the little floaters. He's playing incredible defense. He's the best defensive guard in the SEC, bar none. He is faster from one end of the court to the other, dribbling the ball than any other guard in the country is running at a full sprint. I promise you that. And you look at this, and now all of a sudden he starts hitting shots too. And I think that's because the pressure is off of him. Guess who's hitting 34.5%? This guy named Isaiah Brown, who comes off the bench and is a lockdown defender. And my gosh, the kid can jump. You look at some of these dunks he's got, and I swear he's got his shoulders above the rim. And he's hitting 34%. And then good old Irby. And here's what I like about him, Jeffrey and Lauren. He's hitting contested shots now. He used to be afraid to take a shot unless he was wide open. Now he knows when he's feeling it, and he knows when he's got an opening. He's got a quick enough release that, by gosh, if you give him a split second and just enough of an opening, he lets it fly. And even his bad shots look great.
Yeah, his range is from the villages too. So he got in the gym range. When he step inside, he in his range.
So it's the perfect storm, guys. 4 big guys who are all quality big guys who would be stars at any other school in the country. 4 backcourt guys who are all stars in their own right. And suddenly that backcourt that everybody was saying is our weak point doesn't look so weak anymore, does it, Jeffrey?
Well, here's what I like. I'm sitting here talking with somebody tonight, and we were discussing the fact that Florida all of a sudden is gaining a very strong reputation for developing talent.
Yeah.
And I throw that out to you guys because Calipari and Dean Smith and Krzyzewski and all these giants in the basketball coaching world, right? Why did they have good teams? Because they had reputation for developing good talent. If Todd Golden develops that reputation, which he is in Florida, we're developing a force that's not going to just be 1 year we're good and the next year we're not. I think Florida's on the verge, in my opinion, of developing the same kind of reputation that Kentucky and Duke and all these great schools have developed. So I'm looking at it more as far as the big picture. We all know that winning a national championship, you have to have not only skill but luck. So whether we win the national championship or not this year, I'm looking more at, are we developing a sustainable program that's going to be year in and year out competitive? So I'll throw it out to you guys.
Okay. Well, Francis is telling me today about how good they're going to be next year.
Yeah.
And what guys, he thinks the big guys are coming back. The ones that can. Now, obviously, Tommy Hopp's going to have to go if it's first round. He's got to go. And anytime, as France points out, you get that guaranteed money, you got to take it. But they still got experience. They got young. They got youth. They got the good backcourt. Got young players who are there. And if you get Shinyulu back, and you're telling me, France, you think he might be coming back.
Well, he could, and so could Alex. If they're not first round draft picks, where there's guaranteed money, there's no, you could come back to the University of Florida, make as much money as you could as a second round draft pick with a non-guaranteed contract. You can get guaranteed money at Florida.
Yeah, you definitely making better than the G League if you come back to Florida.
Yeah, that's scary.
So you look at that, and all of a sudden, that looks great. But then you got to remember something. Everybody questioned a couple years ago when Todd brings in this guy named Ruben Chinyelu. Who is he? Okay, well, he turns out to be pretty darn good.
I think we've learned to pronounce his name, haven't we? We learned.
Everybody said Elijah Martin. He was at FAU, for crying out loud. Turned out to be pretty good. And I remember 4 years ago, everybody saying, why are we bringing in a guy from Belmont, guy named Will Richard? He turned out
a guy from the Ivy League. Oh, my gosh.
And now they get a guy from the Ivy League, and they bring in Boogie Fland, and everybody says, how are these guys going to play together?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They're also best buddies.
Yeah, you're right, friends.
Well, I think we all should get credit. I mean, we stepped to the plate when we were wrong, but I think for so far the four of us been pretty right about this basketball team over the last, 18 months. So I'm gonna give myself a, I think we all did. Y'all should
won the national championship. It's pretty easy, right?
What's that now?
They won the national
but this time last year we hung with them now.
While we got scoopage from Jeffrey, he's got the scoopage. He will tell us everything he knows. He knows a lot.
No. Okay, so my mindset right now is I'm taking pride on our player development.
You're right, and Franz wrote about it today.
I read your piece. Okay, I read all your stuff.
I know, and I appreciate that a lot. You're really good about that.
And when you're creating a dynasty, you have to get an earned reputation for developing talent. If we have an earned reputation for developing talent, then we're back in the game.
That's true.
It's going to be Billy Donovan 2-0.
Well, you look next year. Isaiah Brown will be a third-year guy and ready to be a star. Would you agree, everybody? Micah is going to be back. And I believe, judging by what I'm seeing of Micah right now, Micah is just now really coming back from the injury. People don't realize how freakishly bad that he almost had that leg amputated.
No doubt.
And you look at him, and I think he is right now coming back to where he was when he had the injury. And if they get one of the other guys back. But I look at what Todd's done in the portal. Todd's going to find a replacement. This is as good a guy at roster building as I've seen since, back in 1970, I started covering this guy at North Carolina who was 40 years old, Smith somebody, Dean, I think they called him.
Heard of him.
And yes, you might have heard of him every now and then. And a few years later, when he's recruiting a guy named Phil Ford, who is from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, where I was the sports editor. He told me this, and this is back in the days when you had 15 guys on scholarship. He said, give me 5 All-Americans, give me 5 All-State guys who are pissed off that they didn't make All-America, and give me 5 guys that are sitting there and they're pissed off that they weren't All-State. And he says they will push each other, and push each other. And if you can get them all to love each other, he said they'll win championships. Well, guess what? What I see in Todd Golden, he's getting guys that nobody else knows. He's getting, you look at last year, he gets a couple 5 stars in CJ and Alex Lloyd. They're going to be great players. He's got the Brown brothers. AJ's the best shooter on the team, and he's redshirting. Holy cow.
Well, it's we're over the moon on basketball. We should be, because we're set up for a run now. I mean, my guys should go vault up to 7th place after this weekend. I kind of looked at college basketball last week. I had my binge watch on Saturday. I watched 6 games.
What a
Big game Saturday.
buddy. Was that the most amazing Saturday ever?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I look at it now like what came out. I thought, how did the Daytona 500 turn out? I didn't watch it, but I saw the wrecks at the end, and I see Michael Jordan holding the trophy, right? He winds up with it. And it's kind of how it is in basketball. All this crap went on this past weekend, and the cream is starting to rise now. And, all you people kind of tell me about Iowa State. I said, nah, not so fast. But we did see Duke and Michigan, and that was a classic. It was great to watch. And I liked, I'm a football guy primarily, but who could not enjoy the basketball we had watching the Gators at 11 o'clock in the morning where I am, and then watching until midnight. What a day. And now we're just getting started on March Madness in the final minutes here, which we have. I would like for each of you to take this time, I'll start with Jeffrey. I'll talk about what you saw tonight, what happened at Spurrier's, what we're seeing developing with John Sumrall coming aboard, taking part in what is now a big league event, the huge asset that Spurrier's Grill and Grill has become to this school, and about how the football program now is beginning to move forward, and the feeling you have about, I know it's a lot, what's happening. It seems like it's all good, Jeffrey.
So the energy is there. And I want to commend John Sumrall, because for the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's been getting out there, meeting with us and a lot of different people. Okay. And it's very intentional. So I'm very bullish on what John Sumrall is going to do, because he's got strong energy and it's going to impact the rest of the team. I think for John Sumrall coming there tonight was a realization. I'm in the
first time anybody's ever coach has ever been there, right? I mean,
no, Sumrall was there tonight, but he realized he was the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
That's my comment.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, buddy.
Let me let Jeffrey go to bed. He's tired, and I will finish up. All right, Jeffrey. Thank you, Melvin.
See you, Jeffrey. See you Thursday,
buddy. Take care. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Lauren.
Buddy, you hit on it. He was the first head coach since the award to show up for the award.
It's right there in Gainesville.
So, the fact that Sumrall has been outside, I wrote it in an article last night about one of the 3 things that he needed to do into the spring is continue with the PR, and he's hitting it out the box. And just tonight was another culmination of celebrating, some great people, some great coaches. Obviously, Dan Mullen was extremely gracious in his interview with the press. Got a very warm reception. Was very good in the press opportunity that we had. Malachi Tony, very, very impressive young man there in Miami.
He's a good player.
And, it was nice to, Cristobal and Kirby kind of had a little back and forth. Cristobal said, man, it's a wonder what what Carson Beck can do with some coaching. And then, Kirby countered with, well, I better keep Malachi away from Kirby to make sure, it doesn't end up at Georgia, this, that, and the other. So it was just a fun night. But ultimately, and we keep sight of the fact that we have a living legend here in Gainesville and Coach Spurrier, and you guys know how we all feel about Spurrier. But, buddy, just what personally he's meant to me from a coaching standpoint, and just watching his career and the way that this, you wouldn't see all these pictures behind me without Coach Spurrier. So just continue to celebrate him. A lot of guys coming back, from Doug Johnson to Terry Jackson, obviously Doring, Noah Brandeis was in the building, Shane Matthews, obviously, just all those guys, and just continue to celebrate Coach Spurrier. And then the mutual respect between he and Coach Fulmer. As much as we love to hate Tennessee, you guys know that those guys have a great mutual respect for one another. The wives are extremely close, Miss Jerry and Coach Fulmer's wife, and just really good to see Coach Fulmer again. And talk about, unfortunately, that rivalry is gone for a couple of years. They moved it to November for some odd reason,
Screwed that up too.
Did mess that up, and now they don't play at all. So, both coaches have expressed the sadness of seeing that go away. But, like I said, just a great night, always a good time. And kudos to Coach Sumrall and his wife showing up, being there, supporting, showing reverence. And I think, those things are going to go a long way.
He's got a wife.
He does.
We went 4 years here. That Billy Napier had one.
All right, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. I'll say good night to you.
Anybody remember actually seeing her?
Very, very sociable as well. So
let me let Lauren go so I can get friends off. So thank you, Lauren.
Guys.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, Francis, it's your time. You got a minute.
Lauren just shocked me by telling me that John Sumrall has a wife. We went 4 years with a coach that said he had one, but nobody could ever prove it.
I know it.
Let me tell you something that
you got 60 seconds.
Let me tell you something I found
not
out.
Even 60 seconds, 40.
A week ago Friday. I took my sister and two of her close friends to Spurrier's to eat before the gymnastics meet. And we got the most gracious showing, tour from Freddie Wiebe. And Freddie told me this, and I believe it's so true. He said Gainesville needed Spurrier. He said Spurriers. He said this football program needed Spurriers. I agree with that 100%. It's a place like no other, and it is going to pay long-term dividends, just like that football facility is. Spurriers is going to do it.
All right, Francis, good job, buddy. Keep it up. It's going to be fun this week. Fransbury Radio on Gator WR. If you're not a member, sign up for it. Read his good stuff. Fransbury. Thank you, Francis. Appreciate it, buddy. Let me tell folks about our other sponsor tonight. But I shouldn't say, well, it's late in the night, but we have a big audience tonight. We want you to be sure to know that Titan MRI and Imaging are special people to us and special to you. They have 3 locations to serve you now, about to get 4. 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue and Millennium Center, 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service. They accept insurance, or you can go through the convenient self-pay program. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds. Easy scheduling, lots of options. If you can't go in during the day, they'll make a night appointment for you. And those large MRI machines, they give provide patient comfort. Titan MRI Imaging, soon coming to Marion County. About to serve you. Titan MRI Imaging. It's your choice. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our guests. We're back tomorrow night with Lauren Meadows and Lowdown. Thank you.